Hey guys, what's up? It's Asylum Reviews here, coming at you guys with my 205 Live and NXT review for this week. For 205 Live, we had the first two matches kick off for the 8-man tournament to see who will be facing Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight title at WrestleMania. And on NXT, we had Shayna Baszler and Mia Jax going at it in the main event. So let's talk about both shows. So, 205 Live, this was a very short show, being that we only had two matches, and they were just the two matches that were announced for the previous week. And Drake Maverick has already started this tournament. So, there's the two matches that were on tonight for 205 Live this week was Tony Nese and Kalisto starting the show. Hi, Rainey. Tony Nese and Kalisto, they started the show, and they had a great match. This was definitely a hard-hitting match, and it was back and forth, and it was just fast-paced, and it was great. And in the end, Tony Nese picks up the win, taking out Kalisto with the running knee in the corner, and Tony Nese advances to round number 2 in the Cruiserweight Championship Tournament. So Kalisto is out. We go backstage, and we see Jack Gallagher going over a tape with Humberto Carrillo, who's watching. They were go over Humberto's match with TJP last week, and Gallagher was impressed, but he says that Humberto should be careful doing the flips, and he should be doing wrist locks, and reassuring him that he'll get it, and he gets a perfect opportunity to learn by watching Drew Gulak wrestle in his match with D. Brian Kenrick in the main event. Maria and Mike Kanellis go to Drake Maverick, who's backstage, and they complain about his loss to Cedric Alexander from last week, but Drake refuses to overturn it. He said he was very impressed with the showing that Mike had against Cedric, and so he sends them home and promises that Mike will get a match next week. Maria says that he made the right decision, and they leave. So I don't know what's going to happen next week, but apparently Mike Kanellis is getting a match. Hopefully it's not a jobber. Hopefully it's a decent match with somebody. But the match he had with Cedric Alexander last week was talked about. It was a great match. Definitely one of his best matches on the show since coming on 205 Live. Main event time, Drew Gulak versus Brian Kenrick. I don't know what it is, man, but this match was mostly like technical. There's a lot of submissions here, and both these guys are technical wrestlers. The crowd just really wasn't into this match. I heard a couple of "this is boring" chants, and I don't know what it is. It's like Drew Gulak. We know what Drew Gulak can do in the ring, and same with D. Brian Kenrick. But something about this match just didn't really fit well with me, and I would have honestly preferred Tony Nese and Kalisto in the main event rather than these two. So that's what we had, and in the end, Drew Gulak taps out D. Brian Kenrick with the Gulak. And Gulak and Tony Nese advance to the next round. Coming up next week, we have Humberto Carrillo taking on Oni Lorcan, and Akira Tozawa will be taking on Cedric Alexander. Those are the two matches announced for next week's tournament, so that should be interesting. Oni Lorcan making his debut on 205 Live, so that's going to be interesting. And Akira Tozawa and Cedric Alexander in the main event, so that's going to be a good one. We know what Tozawa did with Buddy Murphy at Elimination Chamber, so hopefully he has a great match with Cedric Alexander, which we probably know he will. So there's that. Yeah, 205 Live went by very, very quick. I don't know, it was just like a 42-minute show, so it went by very, very quick. So that was it. NXT, we have this was a great show nonetheless. NXT always delivers. In the main event, we had Mia Jax and Shayna Baszler, which was advertised from last week. And the show starts off with Johnny Gargano. He comes out and he says it's been an interesting couple of weeks. Not only has he shown the WWE Universe what NXT is all about as one of the newest members of the Raw and SmackDown Live rosters, but last week he had one of his toughest matches of his career against the Velveteen Dream. After TakeOver Phoenix, he told the world that Johnny Wrestling was back. And he was. He introduced himself to the world as Johnny Champion, But when he had his first test as a champion, he said he failed himself and not all of us. He still feels like a champion, but he's a failure, and he has no title with him. And he's come to realize the only reason he's had any success around here, out comes Tommaso Ciampa, the NXT champion, and he shuts down a pop from Full Sail. He says that whenever we're together, here or on Raw and SmackDown, they always win. But when Johnny went against Velveteen last week, he offered to help and Gargano chose to go alone. And he lost for it. But now Johnny's finally realized that they both need each other. He's standing there holding the title and Johnny isn't, but it doesn't have to be that way. William Regal announced the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic last week, and that's where Ciampa came into play, talking about the tournament, and he thinks that DIY and their dream should start, and the tournament ends with a title shot. That can be their destiny at TakeOver New York, and it could end like TakeOver Phoenix did, with both of them as champions. Ciampa offers his hand against the crowd chants DIY. Gargano drops his mic and he shakes Tommaso's hand. The champ smiles and leaves. Johnny looks shocked and follows him out, stone-faced. Backstage, we have Keith Lee talking to Ricochet, and he said he's been making noise on Raw and SmackDown, but he and Aleister Black haven't forgotten about the Undisputed Era. He's come to realize when you fight one of the Undisputed Era, one of the members of the Undisputed Era, you have to fight them all. But with Aleister by his side, that doesn't worry him whatsoever. Keith asks him how he plans to deal with them, and he says that if Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, which they are, he's going to talk to Mr. Regal about it before he decides on the final teams for the Dusty Classic. And it is all but confirmed that Ricochet and Aleister Black are officially in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We see Ciampa and Gargano heading out to the building, where we see Candice LeRae, Johnny Gargano's wife, waiting. Tommaso leaves the couple to talk, but Candice wants to know why her husband is doing this again. Johnny then tells her wife that he's got this and he wants her to trust him on this. And Candice LeRae looks disappointed and she walks away. I don't know what's going to lead up to here, but I have a feeling something fishy is going to happen. And I feel like it's either going to be Johnny taking it to Ciampa, and we'll see. We'll just see what happens from there. But yeah, DIY is officially in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah versus Tainara Conchi and Xia Li. This match was just blah. You know, it was just, I don't know. These four women, I don't know. I'm not really interested in any of them. So this match was just there for filler. So it was okay. I'm not going to go over it. It was an alright match. But yeah, Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah pick up the win. Who cares? I don't really care about them. Velveteen Dream, the NXT North American Champion, who won the title last week in a fucking fantastic match with Johnny Gargano. He runs into an interview on his way into the building. Before he can really discuss on his big win, the Undisputed Era roll up. They mock Mr. Interviewer Guy for wasting his time with Velveteen, whatever the fuck that means, when he should be talking to them. Adam Cole puts over himself and O'Reilly and Fish for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, but Dream cuts him off. He said he's got a big mouth for a little man and wonders how big his mouth is when his entourage isn't around. Broderick Strong says they're best friends, not an entourage. Velveteen then says he doesn't have time for them as he walks off. Kathy Kelly's outside Mr. Regal's office waiting for the Dusty graphic when a fight breaks out between Io Shirai and Bianca Belair. Serena Deeb separates them. It wasn't really a fight, it was more like an argument. But yeah, these two women were just seen backstage fighting, or arguing I should say. And it looks like we could be getting a match between these two, possibly in the next few weeks. Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic. Man, what can I say about this match? This was the match of the night. I was not expecting this to be such a fucking hard-hitting... Well, we knew it was going to be hard-hitting, but I did not expect this to be such a fucking amazing match. These two fought for the first time at NXT, and I'm sure they fought before in the Indies, but what they did here, you could tell they had chemistry before. They had the chemistry before. This was fucking great, man. I enjoyed this match. This was awesome. This was definitely Dijakovic's best match in NXT. Same with Keith Lee. We know what Keith Lee can do in the ring, and just having him and with Dijakovic, this was great. Fucking amazing. So there's the early show of athleticism from both men with a few stalemates. We saw Ricochet. We saw Keith Lee land on his feet when Dijakovic tried to monkey flip, and the crowd goes insane. Dijakovic goes for a moonsault off the second rope, but he lands on his feet. Both men now stare into each other's eyes, and Lee offers his hand after one. Dijakovic shoves him away. They then trade shots after a DD monkey flip of Lee. Leads to nothing. We just talked about that. Big foot and elbows in the corner from Dominic. Another big striking exchange when Keith Lee hits the pounce. It's Dijakovic's turn to land on his feet, coming out of the belly-to-belly suplex from Lee. Super kick, followed by the sit-out chokeslam, gets a near two count. Dominic tries coming off the turnbuckles, but leads into a chop. Keith Lee with the spine buster for the 2 count. They brawl on the apron. A tornado kick sends Keith Lee to the floor. Dijakovic follows with an Ase moonsault. And this was insane. Both men are down on the ramp, but they can't make it back to their feet. And they both get counted out. They try to re-engage with the crowd chants, let them fight, but the officials keeping them apart, and the announcers assure us that Mr. Regal will definitely look into this one more time in the near future. But yeah, this, like I said, this was a fucking hard-hitting match. This was great. Match of the night, of course, and this was just amazing, man. I hope we see more of Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic, because this was fantastic. By the way, Keith Lee has a new theme song. I don't know if we talked about this the previous week, but he debuted this new theme song in the Worlds Collide tournament. I didn't know who the hell this was until it said Limitless, so I knew that was Keith Lee. And nobody knew about his new theme song until he showed it in the Worlds Collide tournament. But this was his first time hearing this song on NXT TV, so I thought it was an okay song. I don't know. I think I was more interested in his other song better because it got you hyped. But I've been listening to his new song since they just released it on YouTube a couple of days ago, and it's really growing on me. So, it's the cool thing about it is it has Keith Lee singing his own entrance theme. He's got his own lyrics, and he's singing his own lyrics to the song, and it's great. So I think this song's growing on me. But I don't know. I think I like this other song better, but this is definitely great too. So yeah, Keith Lee gets a new theme song, and both men get counted out. Fantastic match. Hope to see more of these two in the future. The announce team informs us about the final 4 teams in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. DIY, we talked about that. Ricochet and Aleister Black, we mentioned that as well. Mustache Mountain, we kind of knew that was coming. And Burch and Lorcan. So, it's official, the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic will start next week. And the first 2 matches in the tournament are going to be DIY versus the Undisputed Era. That's going to be great. And we also have Aleister Black and Ricochet against Marcel Bartel and what's the other guy's name? Fabian Eitner, the European Union. So that should be good. New women's tag champs Sasha Banks and Bayley are here. This was a surprise. This was not advertised at all. This was just out of the ordinary, and this was great. It was great to see Sasha and Bayley back on NXT. You could tell they were happy when they came out, because holy shit. Nobody expected them to come out, and when Sasha's music hit, that crowd went fucking apeshit. So that was awesome. It's great to see my baby Sasha back on NXT. You could tell she was very, very happy to be there. Same with Bayley. So the new women's tag champs are out here. They get mics as the crowd chants welcome back. Sasha asks if they missed them and says, damn, it feels good to be home. Damn right, baby. Sure does. Their belts prove that you can't forget where they came from because their journeys becoming tag champs started right here in NXT. Bayley asked if they remember the last time they were in NXT ring together, and it was at TakeOver Respect back in October of 2015 in the first ever women's Iron Man match. Respect in the main event of the first ever women's Iron Man match. But Sasha's changed. They hug, and the hugster says their journey as tag champs has just started. They want their tag belts to be the most sought after talk about belts in all WWE. Sasha then says they're going to be taken all over, including Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. They're gonna be defending the titles all around. I think they said even NXT UK at some point. Bayley says all the ladies in the bag better step up because maybe the next time they're here, they will be defending the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. So it was great to see Sasha and Bayley back on NXT. And this is exactly what they've been wanting to do with the Women's Tag Team titles. I knew this was going to happen. As soon as they announced these titles were coming, I had a feeling that since we just have these titles and no other titles for Raw, SmackDown, or whatever, NXT, it's good that you just have one pair of women's titles, because if you just have titles for all three brands, it's just ridiculous. Keep it the way it is with one set pair of the women's tag team titles, and we're all good to go, so that we have Sasha and Bayley defend them on either brand. So this is great. This is exactly what we wanted. Main event time. Before that, though, William Regal announces on Twitter, it's shown on the TV, that Bianca Belair and Io Shirai will go at it in 2 weeks on NXT in the March 10th episode. And the winner will be facing Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship at NXT TakeOver New York, WrestleMania weekend. So that's going to be great. Main event time, Shayna Baszler, the NXT Women's Champion, takes on Mia Yim in the main event. This was definitely Mia Yim's best match on NXT. She put on a great showing against Shayna Baszler. And in the end, Shayna Baszler taps out Mia Yim. The champ is out by herself as she mocks Mia Yim during his entrance. Skipping around the ring, the real-life roomies knock up, and... oh yeah, the real-life roomies. Apparently these two are roommates. I didn't know about that, but how funny is that? They're both roommates. Shayna Baszler and Mia Yim, they're both roommates. That's pretty funny. But yeah, let's talk about the match. The champ smiles, works some ground and pound, but Yim invades the strike and lays in some kicks when Shayna reacts to hitting the mat. Ground and pound from Yim, the champ rolls out, and Mia falls with a suicide dive. Yim stomps on Baszler's hand on the steel steps, but missed the kick. And that's where the storyline comes into play with this match of Mia Yim's leg. Mia falls with a suicide dive. She gets Shayna back into the ring, but Yim stomps on Shayna's hand on oh no, we talked about that. It's all sorted out. She brings her back into the ring, but the Queen of Spades goes to work with that leg, as Mauro reminds us. It's the one that Mia broke last year. Shayna goes in to lock in the Kirifuda clutch after a break, but Mia Yim grabs the hand that she was targeting earlier to prevent her from locking it in. Baszler counters into a leg lock on the bad leg of Yim, but can't complete the hole with her bad hand, and Mia gets to the ropes. Tornado DDT from Mia Yim. She tries to charge in, but her leg gives out. Shayna charges for a penalty, but Mia was playing possum. Roll up for a near fall. Food connects. Soul Food. It's spelled weird, but I think it says Soul Food, which is basically the eat defeat. But she can't even get to the cover. Shayna battles back with the forearms, hitting a gauntlet buster for the 2 count. Baszler with the kicks, but Yim blocks off and manages to lift her. Her leg holds on enough for a sit-out powerbomb, but it can only get a 2 count. The champ attacks the knee, transitions into her finisher. Mia tries to work the hand to break it again, but Shayna uses her legs to trap Yim's hands, and she is forced to tap out. Shayna Baszler taps out Mia Yim in the main event of NXT. Overall, great show. Match of the night, Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. This is great. Tag team match, it was just blech. But I'm excited for next week. We have the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and it's going to be great, man. So looking forward to that. We also have Io Shirai and Bianca Belair in their number one contenders match, with the winner facing Shayna Baszler at NXT TakeOver New York. So that's going to be good. And yeah, guys, that's all I got for NXT and 205 Live. 205 Live was a quick show, and NXT, great show. So that's it. Let me know what you thought about this review for both shows in the comment section down below. We know 205 Live was definitely better last week than it was this week. I would have much preferred Tony Nese and Kalisto in the main event rather than Brian Kendrick and Drew Gulak, but nonetheless, they did what they could. I don't know what it is about 205 Live, but it used to be on Wednesday nights when the Mixed Match Challenge was still on, but ever since that ended, they brought it back to Tuesdays after SmackDown, and I think that's just stupid. I would much rather have 205 Live air before NXT, or before SmackDown, rather, because you get a better crowd, and you get better matches and stuff. So yeah, overall, this was great. So if you enjoyed my review, guys, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, favorite, RKO the like button out of nowhere, and I will see you all in the next one. Oh, and by the way, I have a big unboxing coming tomorrow. I just got 2 packages in the mail. I got one on Friday, and I got one today. I wasn't expecting it to come in today, but it actually did come in today. So, yeah, just stay tuned for that, and I will be unboxing that tomorrow. So, until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Too sweet.